You seem uncomfortable. Do I make you nervous, Corky?
No.
Thirsty, maybe.
Curious, maybe.
That's funny. I'm feeling a little bit curious myself.
I'm not a woman of thought. I'm a woman of podcasts. Welcome to Pleasers.
And Punishers.
Where we talk about movies that people love to watch.
Movies that ruin your today, tomorrow, and yesterday.
And all things kinky and queer.
I'm Caitlin of the North.
And I'm May, at least now I'll be a clean whore, Schultz.
I don't know why I wasn't expecting you to choose that line, but that was...
Thank you.
Perfection. And today we are discussing how I want my funeral dirge to sound like circus music while my body swings from a meat hook while everyone looks at me.
Okay, but is your funeral going to take place inside of an at-home meat locker?
I would like it to be in a stadium-sized meat locker, thank you.
Damn, that's a lot of people coming to your funeral.
I don't think that many people are going to come, but I would like a spectacle, please. Just like Five Dolls for an August Moon from 1970, directed by Mario Bava, written by Mario DiNardo, starring Ira von Furstenberg, William Berger, Edwige Fenech, and I fucked up Howard Ross, and Ellie Galliani. Galliani! I can say that. Ellie Galliani. With Mears. I even slept well. In my defense, last week I had like 4 hours of sleep. I was like, I can't speak. None of us can speak. I have no excuse. No
That's
reasons.
Okay.
No reasons.
It's your Fraggle hair.
Probably. And, just chaos everywhere. And music by Piero Umiliani.
All right. So tell me, Caitlin, have you ever stayed or would you ever stay at an isolated island house?
Well, at first I was going to say, no, absolutely not. I like to be around people. Like, that's one of my reasons also I don't like camping is because I'm like, that's where the crime can happen, where no one can hear you scream.
There would be other people there. You'd be able to stay there with other people. But, like, would you be comfortable being on an island that is just totally separate from the rest of the world?
And is the house the only thing on this island?
No, there's also a girl who lives there with her parents.
Right, our groundskeeper, I forgot. Or our gameskeeper. Because that's who we are. My grandparents had sheep. The thing that's funny about this, though, as you say it, is there are a lot of islands in Western Washington. Mm-hmm. And in the Puget Sound, we have, I think, the largest ferry system in the United States and the second largest, or the third or fourth largest in the world. And so I've absolutely been on islands that are kind of rural, and you're pretty far out there. Again, saying that my grandparents owned sheep on an island, on like a couple of acres with like woods. Mm-hmm. So I guess I kind of have, and it is terrifying, let me tell you.
Yeah, I don't think I could do that. Even if I was there with a bunch of people I knew, I would be like, something's going to kill us while we're here. I mean, it's just a probability.
I would get really afraid of, like, snakes. Specifically cobras, because I had watched Rikki Tikki Tavi too many times, coming up, like, through vents and getting me while I was, like, in the bathroom that had like old fixtures and everything is freezing.
Yeah, that sounds legitimately scary. So I guess that answers my question. Thank you. Yeah. And speaking of things that can be scary, let's get into some role play.
Hey.
Is that your bathing suit? Is that your overbite?
Now, one of you will be the drowning victim, and the other one gets to be our lifesaver.
I'll be the victim. all your life.
After frolicking on an island beach at sunset, a young woman named Isabel arrives at a modern beachside house where a group of wealthy industrialists and their wives are having an awkward party, and Edwige Fenech and her giant hair are dancing up a storm.
Oh, that dance.
I love it. It's ridiculous.
I just have to say that Peggy, who I thought was Jill my first kind of time around, very confused as per usual.
Peggy and Jill look kind of similar, and the order and way in which people say each other's names occasionally makes it a little hard to tell who's who.
And if you are like me and you watch the first 15 minutes on Canopy and the captions were not correct at all.
Yeah, what happened there?
I have no idea. At one point...
Was it like the captions for a different movie? Or do you think it was the Italian translation captions rather than the English subtitles?
Maybe that was it. Though, again, some of the lines that they were saying didn't seem like they should have been coming from the person that they were attributing them to. At one point, they called Charles Jacques.
Oh, see, Jack in the original version, I think, is Jacques.
So they just called then Charles by the completely wrong character name.
Interesting. Well, I'm glad you were able to watch it the right way.
I was, and just Peggy with the bouffant and that like sequined black turtleneck situation. Oh my God. I was like, run away with me. And so when I thought later on, because I thought she was Jill, I was like, run away with me. Anyway, we'll get there.
George playfully ties up the quote-unquote virgin Edwige. I'm just calling her Edwige because she's Edwige to me.
Yes.
To sacrifice her to the great god Kral, and Charles the houseboy provides each of the guests a weapon. This is extra fun because I watched Clue last night.
Hey!
The lights go out, and when they come back up, she has been stabbed. But don't worry, it's just a gag.
One of them goes, no, thank you. I will not be having a knife with my dinner.
Oh, I think it's the professor.
It's the professor,
Isn't
yeah.
it?
So just like that, no thanks.
Yeah.
I think you're correct, yeah.
The next day, Edwige and Charles fool around on a speedboat, and the rest of the ladies gab in the kitchen while the men try to convince Professor Farrell to sell them his research, which he staunchly refuses to do. Edwige surprises Charles later that night with a rendezvous on the boat, but finds that he has been murdered, and Isabel observes her running away. Edwige's husband, Nick, isn't jealous of her affair with Charles, but is judgmental of her taste in men, and so he enlists her help to convince the professor to sell him the research.
I had him listed as Mr. Edwige for a lot of the movie till I remember.
Perfect. Charles's body is discovered on the beach by Jill, and everyone suspects one another. The professor tries to phone the mainland, but of course the lines are down. Everyone wraps Charles in plastic, and they deposit him in the meat locker that for some reason exists in this house. I guess if you're living on an isolated island, you need a lot of supplies, and you need them to last for a long time. But I just love that this big, but not palatial house has a fucking giant meat locker in it. It's incredible.
With so many hooks that they had room to hang people on.
Mm-hmm. And the meat was still in there, too.
Just, dry aging it to perfection over 200 and whatever it was days.
A wasted Nick attempts to seduce Trudy on the beach, but she's not having it.
Oh my God, Trudy.
At the house, Edwige attempts to seduce the professor, but he's not having it. Isabel fires a rifle, supposedly killing the professor, who is discovered by Trudy and Jill. As they run to the house to gather the others, Isabel drags his body into the ocean. In the morning, Jack discovers that Peggy has been shot in the head, so she's added to the meat locker to keep her corpse fresh. Edwige, is discovered tied to a tree, stabbed in the boob, just like what was faked at the beginning. But this time, she's actually dead. And so she is also added to the meat locker.
No, Marie.
I know.
Silly Marie.
I saw complaints from people that a lot of the deaths take place off screen and it's just people discovering them. And it's like, well, yeah, it's a murder mystery. You don't always need to see the people getting killed. This isn't like a gory giallo.
You just saw a clue.
Uh-huh. Yeah, exactly.
Murders are only taking place off screen.
Mostly, yeah.
We just wait, was there a murder on screen in Clue? Singing telegram.
Yeah, you definitely actively see her die.
The singing telegram.
God, I can't wait to cover that movie someday.
It is basically just going to be a reenactment brought to you by Caitlin and May, I feel like.
Yeah, I can quote a lot of that movie.
I one time stitched together Mrs. White's The Flames on the side of my face with the men or flies are where men are most vulnerable to make a monologue to audition with.
Excellent.
For community theater.
Men should be like Kleenex, soft, strong, and disposable. Back to the movie. George and Nick fight, breaking a table that was holding so many glass balls, which tumble down the spiral staircase, arriving at the tub where Jill appears to have died by suicide, and into the meat locker she goes. Nick wanders away in anger, and Trudy, George, and Jack get wasted. The next day, a group of sailors, arrive on the island and find no one in the house. The partiers wake up to find they were drugged, but not enough to kill them, and they find Nick dead in the meat locker.
That one, though, I was like, wait, Nick,
I
what?
know. George rewinds the reel-to-reel deck, which Trudy had switched on earlier in the evening, and recorded the sailors discussing the empty house, but it's impossible that they weren't found. George gives Trudy his $1 million check, then attempts to start his hidden boat, which has been sabotaged.
Dun, dun, dun.
He returns to the house where Jack admits to killing everyone but the professor, then shoots George dead as Isabel watches from outside. Jack finds Trudy sitting on the spinning bed in Marie's room, and we discover that the two of them had colluded. She demands his check for $1 million, bringing her total earnings to $3 million, in exchange for the formula, which is on a piece of microfilm stored in the professor's ring.
I love how Trudy went upstairs, did her hair, makeup, got in a whole other outfit and said, let me pose on this bed and spin.
Yeah, how long do you think she was spinning before he opened the door?
Hello. I've been waiting for you. I also called Jack the elf with Fred hair, so that was happening a lot too.
He kind of looks like Yuri from Werewolf, doesn't he?
Yes. It was a little kind of Star Trek-y, elfy, kicky outfit that he was wearing with a cinched waist.
Jack and Trudy both shoot each other dead, and Isabel attempts to take the microfilm, attacked by Jack while he is in the throes of death. Thankfully, he actually dies, and she closes the door to the meat locker, leaving all of the corpses inside. Sometime later, Isabel, who finally wears a different and truly stunning outfit, visits the professor, who did not die, on death row, where we discover she shot him with a tranquilizer to keep him from being killed by the others. Turns out he killed his own colleague and stole the formula that everyone was trying to buy from him. Which makes it even funnier that he didn't want to sell it.
Right, no, his partner died for this, okay?
Yeah.
What did he say, his best friend died for this? Did he say that? So he killed his best friend?
Yeah, it's fucked up, man.
Oh my goodness. And then said this was my work? Oh no. No.
Isabel confesses her love for the professor, so he gives her the code for Nick's check because she already somehow ran out of the money from the other checks. And she rides off into the sunset in this beautiful luxury car with her driver and another guy. And that's $5 for an August moon.
Ah, yes. I love it.
So tell me, Caitlin, why does Isabel only own one dress until she inherits millions of dollars?
Okay, so I think what the actual answer to this is. However,
within the world of the film.
Within the world of the film.
Because everyone else has a bunch of outfits.
Yeah, she lives there, I'm guessing. So she's not like bringing stuff necessarily from the mainland, wherever the mainland is. Mm-hmm. So she has to live there. Maybe she only has one summer dress.
Maybe. I mean, it is really cute.
Yes, as you see my follow-up here. So I thought it was like a pink dress with like yellow. At one point I was like, ooh, is it orange and yellow? This is more candy corn because I don't like that. But if it's the like pink stripes with the yellow stripes, and a lot of times I call that, or if it's like a nice raspberry with like a really bright orange, I will call that a sherbet dress.
Oh, I refuse to say the word sherbet. It should be sherbet.
You say sherbet too?
Yeah, of course. Because sherbet is a stupid fucking word that shouldn't exist.
This is so exciting
Sherbet is what we should call the frozen dessert that is often quite delicious.
I love that so much.
Side question, is sherbet something you can eat?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
because
excellent.
Because I have no problem with milks.
Okay.
And I will tell everyone who is yelling at us right now that no, it is sherbet. Sherbet.
Sherbet.
Sherbet.
Sherbet your life.
Is that apparently both sherbet is where it originally comes from. However, at some point in the 17th century, English added an extra R. So both are correct. Hey!
Occasionally the English do something right.
Hey! Hey! What did I just drop? Oh, it was a coaster for one of my many, many drinks.
Caitlin, super queer. Huh.
Super queer.
All right. So tell me about your experience with this movie. Was this a first time watch for you?
It was. I really enjoy Mario Bava movies, though. Mm-hmm. I was actually surprised this is the only thing of his that I've seen that was released, because I haven't seen Bay of Blood, which is nuts.
Ooh, I got to see the new 4K restoration of it a couple months ago in the theater, and it was so good. Hold on. Mel, do you have to rip out tissue paper right now, right behind me?
Answer, yes, I do.
Oh my god. Hey, Maeve.
Excuse me, I'm here too.
Would you mind feeding Mal real quick? Thank you.
Have something to say.
Caitlin, please continue.
I think that actually the first movie of his I saw, I mentioned last week, which is Black Sunday. And I was just entranced immediately with the atmosphere, the level of detail that he put into each scene and the craft he was putting into the movie. And of course, just that killer goddamn monologue at the beginning, which is like...
You saw Beetlejuice, right?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay. So there are several sections of that film that switch into both black and white cinematography and Italian spoken language with subtitles. And they are 100% Bava tribute. And those are some of my favorite parts in the movie. And I wish we got more of them.
I felt this way about this movie as well. I love Blood and Black Lace. Diabolique will always be just have a very special place in my heart. That was actually the first Bava movie I saw because I saw it on MST3K.
Oh, Danger Diabolic.
Oh, sorry, not Diabolique. Oh my god,
not like Les
Caitlin,
Diabolique.
No,
Okay,
Diabolic,
sorry.
Diabolic.
Yeah, Danger Diabolic.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Fucking love that movie.
You're like looking at me like, what are you talking about?
I was like, wait, that's a French movie.
And
they definitely did not riff that on Mystery Science Theater.
Can you imagine? Oh my goodness. Yeah.
I mean, I can.
So absolutely the first one I saw was Danger Diabolic because It was the last episode.
Yeah, I would imagine that's the first Bava movie I saw as well for the same reason, because I watched that when it aired.
I did too.
And it was really confusing when they aired Merlin's Shop of Mystical Wonders after that. Good job, Sci-Fi Channel.
I'm just nailing it. I don't know why the show had to end.
Yeah. Well, technically it didn't.
This is true. This is true. However, I will say, kind of similar feelings being brought into this. Some of the issues maybe that I had with the Red Queen Kill 7 Times, I just did not have with this. And part of it, I think, is just because wildly, as we're going to get into, Bava was able to craft something that was still distinct. Even though I was confused about whose name was what, like I could place what each of the characters looked like. Everything looks beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
So as we were talking about those exterior shots that are paintings.
Yeah, the house on the cliff that you see repeatedly, that is not real. That is a Mario Bava special matte painting, which he would do those on plates of glass, literally while he was like on set. He was known for just whipping things out like that. And because they were on plates of glass, they could be backlit. So he could do lighting effects with them, which is part of why they look so fucking real. Like if Maeve had not told me that when we were watching the movie, I never would have known. I thought that was a real house in the background of those shots.
It's like impeccable. The production is still impeccable, and I get very brought into all of that. It's like it was like little dolls in their dollhouse and they're moving around. And I'm like, oh, I love this. Let's go.
Well, I'll let you tell me more about that in a moment, but I just want to share that the first time I watched this was January 2024 with my friend Andy, who I got into the giallo genre and she adores. And we watched this one night just hanging out, had a ton of fun with it. And I was really excited to revisit it. This was only my second watch. And after watching it, Maeve and I double featured it with Bava's The Girl Who Knew Too Much, which is often considered the first giallo. So it was a good pairing. It was very fun. But yeah, let's go to our next section, Faith and Chance.
I can't exist by myself because I'm afraid of myself, because I'm the maker of my own evil. Goodness is only some kind of reflection upon evil. That's all it is.
So, Caitlin, tell me more about $5 for an August moon.
So many things to say. I think my first note here, everyone, is just OMG, this movie. Because this is really important to know. It lost its director 2 days before filming was supposed to start. It had a completely different director. Bava was not supposed to direct this movie. The producers contacted Mario Bava and were like, please help, send help. And he didn't want to because, quote, from the Wikipedia, he felt the script was a poorly written ripoff of Agatha Christie's novel, and then there were none.
I have mixed feelings about that because, and I have a question about this later, so I'll save most of my thoughts, but I don't think it's a ripoff of that story, and I don't even think it's poorly written. I think it's just very heavily inspired by it and kind of having its own fun with the ideas.
Previous episode when we were talking about giallos and how they're like, oh, there's like the Agatha Christies and then there's giallos, and it's just very interesting to me that they have kind of pit the two against each other. They're like, there are British detective mystery stories, and then there are the Italian ones. And yours cheat. British.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of true. I know we talked about Agatha Christie a couple weeks ago, and I know you don't particularly care for her, so...
There's this line in Big Mouth that I was just like, okay, you nailed me. Where they're talking about, we're not supposed to use Uber. Something about the drivers, and I think maybe immigrant, and I don't know. I might forget, but I will never forgive. And I was like, oh, I feel very seen right now. Bava did not feel seen because he only agreed to do this because he said, pay me up front. It sounds like he didn't know that the movie was actually shooting in 2 days, because when he got the contract, he was pretty upset because he's like, the cast, crew, everything was already set, and you have no time to rework the script that you so desperately want to rework. So he actually added 2 parts.
Oh, he did?
He did. He added the meat lockers.
Okay.
So that was Bava's addition.
Excellent.
Originally, it was supposed to be like headstones or it's like people actually being buried. If I'm wrong, it's on Wikipedia. You can look it up. That's fine with me. I have no problem with that. And the other part that he added was the part about the professor and Isabel at the end. That wasn't originally part of the story.
Yeah, you know what? That makes a lot of sense, and that feels very Bava. So I like that.
Yes. So he got to do two things. One of the reasons when I said why probably Isabella had one dress is because a lot of the clothing were the actors' actual clothes. So they all just brought their own clothes.
So did they actually shoot this on an isolated island?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't remember that part.
That's okay.
But I know that they had to wear their own clothes. That was very important to me. Like Jennifer Tilly, years later, brought their own clothes to set. And I just love that too. Really, in terms of Jack, considering the blousy, tight, the voluptuous, voluminous blouse.
Yeah, Jack's
pants,
outfits are certainly
the Speedos.
Interestingly flamboyant for his character. You know, George has like the ascots and stuff, but Jack is really like pulling attention.
Yep.
That part when Jack discovers Peggy in the morning and he's wearing those tiny, tiny little undies, I was just like, damn, dude.
Yep.
Like, those are very small. I don't even think I could fit those over one of my butt cheeks.
The metal belt, too. I was like, you flashy. This is, you all are just, you look so beautiful right now. You all just look amazing. Again, with this Fred hair, just that helmet of a hair.
Yep.
Out there killing people. So, that was all Bava's drama. However, then I got down this whole other rabbit hole because of the question Kate asked me last week, which was, why are there so many German and Italian co-productions for Giallos? And of course, I couldn't just let that go. I had to find out the answer.
Is this one of them?
This is actually not, well, at least not one of the lists that I saw. I should look that up again, but because Furstenberg would definitely be German.
Yeah, Ira von Furstenberg, I believe she was German. I mean, look at that name.
I was going to say, unless it's Dutch. That was a very Squisgard squig elf. Dutch.
The Dutch.
Dutch are trash. Dutch. His words, not mine.
Stop scoppies.
I'm not crying, just a high. Bless up to IMDb user Cutrunvid compiled a list of 21 movies that say Giallo in Germany, 1964 to 1978. Also, Cutrunvid, my mind was doing such fun things with that word.
Oh, you mean like rearranging the letters so it says cuntrunt?
Uh-huh, yeah, yep. 100%. Yeah.
That's what I thought you wrote.
I am so glad I wasn't the only one.
All right, tell me more about these Italian-German co-productions in the world of Giallo, since this is part of our Giallo January coverage.
Yes, continuing coverage. So we have this list that has 21 entries, and I don't know why I put it was last edited 2 years ago, but that was very important for me to include. So it was last edited 2 years ago. So this was a list of co-productions with Germany and Italy, and some of them were just like unfeatured German actors. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to read all 21, everyone. Don't worry. I think some that are the more recognizable names, Blood and Black Lace was, The Bird and the Crystal Plumage, Cat o' Nine Tails, the Bud-Stained Butterfly, The Blood-Stained Butterfly, The French Sex Murders, which I include because they came up last week, because of course The Red Queen Kills 7 Times was also, as we talked about.
Mm-hmm. And the one that I know I can add to that list is The Strange Vice of Mrs. Ward.
Yep.
Because that was filmed in Germany, as was Suspiria.
And why? Why, I was wondering.
Did you find out?
Kind of.
Okay.
I think. I'm pulling together. I'm threading some threads. I'm sewing some stuff.
You're
I don't know.
phantoming some threads.
Exactly. I'm phantoming some threads over here. So I believe. Listen to previous episode. I like the idea of like see previous episode and then you're just like staring at it on your phone of just like not pressing play. You're just looking at it. Previous episode. I believe this one was for Flies on Grey Velvet. I talked a little bit about some of Giallo's early influences, and one of these were... What language did you take in high school if you took a language? Was it German?
Latin.
No, it was Latin!
Yeah, I thought I've told you this.
I think you have, and that's just going to surprise me every time.
I was really interested in the etymology of words, and I also find... Look, I'm not obsessed with the Roman Empire like a bunch of dudes are. I just find the history of Rome fascinating, and the fact that multiple cultures throughout the last 2,000 years have repeated that shit and burned down, and we're singing. Anyway, yeah, I took Latin in high school, and not just because I had a crush on my Latin teacher who I had originally met in 5th and 6th grade when she was my Latin teacher. Anyway, shout out Magistra Seifert. She listened to drum and bass while she graded papers, and she's the reason I got into drum and bass because she let me borrow her Goldie CD.
That's wonderful. So my question was because I think I heard it in Italian, but not in German, where it's I think it's creamy. No, it's not creamy. It can't be creamy.
Creamy.
Really creamy. But I just want to call them German creamies. So the crime movies.
Oh no, that sounds too close to cummies. And I hate it when people say cummies.
I have never heard that before. And I hate that. Sounds like something Joseph would say in the Creep tapes. Cummies. Okay, creamy.
Cummies? Tubby time?
Yep, tubby time with your cummies. Oh no. Ugh. Okay, German creamies. Then I will be correct on this. These were crime movies that were huge influences on Giallos. And one of the biggest ones were these Wallace creamies. Creamies!
It was just the pause, which I'm going to cut out. But the pause where you like stopped, looked at your paper, and then came back to the mic and confidently said, "Crimmies." Incredible.
Magic. As I just said, German crime movies that were precursors of the Giallo genre. And a huge part of this was this Danish film company called Rialto Films, established 1897 by Konstantin Philipsen. In this is
sorry, Maeve just texted me the word "cummies" from the other room. God damn it!
No creamy cummies here.
Creamy cummies, no! And now I can hear her laughing from the other room. Get us back on track.
Oh my God,
Caitlin.
okay.
Tell us about the Wallace Crimmies.
Wallace Crimmies. God damn it. Okay. So this guy, Konstantin, in 1960, his son established Rialto Film in Frankfurt as a subsidiary. Now headquartered in Berlin. It does have an Italian name. It's named after the bridge in Venice. So Edgar Wallace, a very prolific writer who, quote, thank you, Wikipedia, wrote screenplays, poetry, historical nonfiction, 18 stage plays, 957 short stories, 170 novels, and more than 160 films that have been made of his work.
Holy shit.
So apparently what he would do was he would dictate all of his stories onto wax cylinders, and then his secretaries would write it up.
Those are some dedicated fucking secretaries.
And so apparently his, I don't know if because as I have a note here, he is not Edgar Rice Burroughs, who I very much got him confused with in my brain. Burroughs wrote Tarzan. Wallace wrote the screenplay for King Kong.
Got it.
His works had a lot of narrative to them. And he just had this insane output because he wasn't actually typing anything himself. He also didn't really like editing.
Interesting.
So he would just dictate it. It'd be typed up. It'd be sent to the publisher. And they would just clean it up a bit. And that was it. That was all they're allowed to do. And this guy was insanely popular. I mean, I guess you don't write that much and people know your name if you're not insanely popular, to the point that there was a lot of backlash against him from contemporary writers of his time. They did not like him. George Orwell was quoted at one point. There's a lot of like facile. You're not trying to say anything. These are stories for the masses, but you're not, this isn't art for a greater purpose, basically, as they saw it. But I did have sorry, I forgot that I wrote both colonists, though, about Edgar Rice Burroughs and Edgar Wallace. Absolutely. Just very gross talking about the continent of Africa, as will happen. I was going to say name a time period, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, and such. However, Rialto Films bought a bunch of the rights to Wallace's work and released 32 of the 39 of the Wallace Krimis. And I was able to find this very interesting article that's called From German Grusel to Giallo, Transculturality in the West German Edgar Wallace series by Wayland Schwanbeck.
That's quite a name.
Yes, Wayland. And this is for Literature/Film Quarterly. And he writes, before tackling the transcultural aspects of the Wallace series, it is worth briefly addressing the cultural locus of the Edgar Wallace films. While critics usually acknowledge the generic hybridity and various strategies of internationalization that inform the films, they tend to treat them as rather pure-blooded Germanizations of their English sources. It is not my aim to denigrate this reading as completely unfounded, but rather to suggest that it fails to do justice to the transcultural dimensions of the film. Right from the beginning, Rialto sought international collaborations with partners in European countries like Denmark, France, and the UK. This meant that the series regularly moved to other production facilities and invited foreign collaborators to contribute. The list of people who have contributed to the Wallace cycle in one form or another includes such illustrious names as Dario Argento, Freddie Francis, Lucio Fulci, Umberto Lenzi, Ennio Morricone, and Nicholas Roeg.
Yeah, director of The Witches.
And so there's this next part, which I was like, oh, we're getting we're getting shady up in here, and I just love it. So the popular narrative of the Wallace cycle tends to suggest that these more exploitative elements only begin to feature in the series, elements such as a bit more gore, a bit more salaciousness, when the foreign studios with whom Wendland went into alliance over. So again, we're forming co-productions with studios. In fact, the producer himself later disowned the last few Wallace films completely, claiming that the Italians took charge of the whole production process and merely used the Wallace label because it helped them sell the film in Germany. Not that this was always successful. The article continues. Massimo Dalmano's Cosa avete fatto a Solange, which is What Have You Done to Solange from 1972, is considered a minor classic of Giallo cinema. I think a major classic. I love this.
It's so good. And honestly, there are a few gialli that I would say are pretty fucked up in terms of subject matter and like what they actually show you. And What Have You Done to Solange is definitely one of the most fucked up.
No wonder I like it so much.
Uh-huh. Yeah, getting to see it in the theater a couple months ago was awesome.
Oh, love that. In Germany, however, where the film was released as The Mystery of the New Pin and marketed as an adaptation of Wallace's The Clue of the New Pin, it never found much love, which I love that as something someone wrote in an article. It never found much love, presumably because it presented too much of a departure from the traditional Wallace template. So from all of this, I just kind of took a lot of the Italian directors had already been working in Germany a bit. I know that they used a lot of German actors, obviously, in their movies. And then that was one of the reasons why dubbing was also very advantageous, because it doesn't matter where anyone was from. You could have them speak the lines in whatever language you wanted. And
yeah, can you imagine being on set and being like an Italian actor who can speak English? So you're reading your lines in English with your heavy Italian accent, knowing that they're going to get dubbed in a bunch of other languages, and you're acting against someone who's saying their lines in German, and you just have to know what they're saying and get it from their like mannerisms and the tone of their voice, because you have no idea what the fuck they're saying.
Yep.
It is amazing that gialli are often as good as they are with all of this stuff that went into them.
And again, it's a feature, not a bug.
I will say that 90% of the time, I prefer watching the English dubs of gialli, because a lot of the time, the Italian with English subtitles, it doesn't give you the same emotion.
And because, it's not like now necessarily where they would just be exporting the dubbing to different studios,
Right, it's not.
It's like they were doing
it localization like we do now.
Just a lot of directors already had ties to Germany. Probably knew some German actors or just wanted to work with German actors, and already had a base to like break into that market. And since there were the Krimis already, it might have just been marketing, frankly. And also, I mean, I will say, I feel like in Europe, there are a lot more co-productions than there are in the U.S. Just, I mean, countries that tend to give money to their arts, if that was, they tend to have, I feel like, more co-productions.
So what do people think about this movie in general?
People are not stoked on this movie, which, rude.
Shame on you, people.
Yes, it was not critically liked when it came out. A lot of people had issues with the script. Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 35%. IMDb a 5.7 out of 10. And the Letterboxd users, good for you, a very respectable 3 out of 5 or 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I mean, that's okay. That makes a little bit of sense. Gialli aren't for everyone, and I think the problem that I have with a lot of rating systems is that they're influenced by both people who are already fans of whatever genre or subgenre the movie belongs to, and you also get outliers of people who don't like that genre, people who are predisposed to feel distaste toward it. So you end up getting these ratings that are kind of skewed, and you don't know which audience is setting those ratings. Because I guarantee you, if you removed all of the ratings, and like, there's not really a way to do this, but like, if you removed all the ratings from people who just don't like gialli from all the gialli entries, then everything would go up. And if you're a person who likes gialli, that gives you a better idea of like, okay, how much am I going to like this movie on a scale of the worst to the best giallo?
Right.
So, interesting. Well, speaking of things that are interesting, let's make that money. And now we'll dig into the meat, the goo, the viscera, the vegetables, everything in that meat locker, in a section we call Enough is a Myth.
No. I've done enough.
Enough is a myth.
Okay, Caitlin, you ready for some questions?
Can you imagine if I was like, no, I'm not?
I'd be like, well, fuck my drag. Writer-director Umberto Lenzi was once quoted about giallo as a genre, stating that it's about watching beautiful, horrible people suffer. Does this movie, in particular, feel like a shining example of that sentiment?
Yes, and I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
I think that the majority of these people are very attractive. They're nice to look at. They're having a good time. They're listening to fun music. And they get picked off one by one. And it never feels upsetting or sad or anything. You're just like, haha, fuck you, rich guy.
Like, okay, that one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I feel a little bad for Charles because he's the houseboy. But, you know.
Our dear sweet houseboy Charles. Not Jacques at all.
No. Okay, well, that was
I
an
know,
easy one to
but it's
answer.
just like, you know what's interesting? Like, so this movie was intended originally to be just like a starring vehicle for Edwige.
Yeah, and it's her first giallo ever, which is amazing because I have never seen Edwige in something where she is not outstanding. And she's outstanding in this, not just because she is one of the most attractive women alive, but also her performance is just, it's beautiful. It's wonderful. And we talked a little bit about the fashion in this, and I think that's another thing that does this, because these are beautiful people wearing intriguing clothes that are so fun to look at and watch move around when they're dancing.
Like, even though like these were, a lot of them were the actors' clothes, I just can imagine the work that went into like, but you're going to wear this. You're going to wear like this piece, because again.
I guarantee you George's ascots belonged to one of the ladies. Those were scarves that they turned into ascots.
It's just, one of the things I'm going to miss when we're no longer in Giallo January is the fashion, because it has just been top notch this whole month so far.
Well, hey, I've got good news for you. We can still cover Giallo whenever we want to, and you can watch them a lot.
I will never be able to see.
Do you know how many Gialli are on Tubi? They have a whole subsection that's Italian horror and Giallo. And before Maeve lived here, that's where I watched a lot of them.
That's incredible. I had no idea.
Tubi.
I had no idea. And again, Tubi had the correct
captions.
For those of you who missed this, I just want to tell everyone what happened with this caption situation, because it was wild. Okay, so it is Marie Edwige in this incredible bikini. The white, like,
it's like white little daisies.
Yes, the floral motif on top of it. Just, and Charles are in the boat. And the actual line is, "Anyway, why worry your head with it? I've got a better idea." And then she turns over and they start, smooching. Banging. This is what the Canopy caption said. "How about being a little more affectionate, Mommy?" No, that doesn't even make sense. So I would recommend watching it on Tubi. I'm telling you this like midway through the episode. I recommend watching it on Tubi. And if you watched it on Canopy, one of the times I'm just going to say, oh no. I don't know how you could either, because it was so distracting. Because it was completely, almost all of the lines were incorrect.
I wonder if it just got like captions from another movie. Look, that's the only thing I can think of.
I'll be a little bit more affectionate, Mommy.
Oh,
no.
Boy. All right. Well,
fun tee up for this next one.
Next question. Despite being heavily inspired by Agatha Christie's, I am going to say Dark and Dismal, and Then There Were None, of which I am not saying the original title, this film has a very playful sense of humor, particularly with the meat locker vignettes. And I love that you found out that that was a Bava addition, because that explains why it's so great. How does the balance of mystery and comedy in this work for you?
I thought it was a really good balance. And I thought it felt like true to how they were living and who all of these characters were. Again, you have very entitled people being very terrible to each other. I think I've proven I love to watch that. I had a moment where I was like, oh, God, remember when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock? And it was just like, look at like this millionaire slapping this other millionaire in the face. People freaked out, and I was just like, these guys have so much money. Like, this is ridiculous.
The guy who censors swear words on his record slapped the guy who made the worst Saw movie.
Ah! And they all have too much. Everyone has too much money. Just like, again, the petty shit.
To quote Lil Butler from Steven Universe, you people have too much money.
Well, also, as I said at the beginning, like the funeral dirgy circus music that also accompanies the people in these plastic bags swinging from these meat hooks is just like, it's like, this is how you expect people to be murdered, not how you store them.
I think the film really balances its tones well, and I think the ending especially, it lands so beautifully. That Isabel is like, hey, I saved you, but sorry, you still ended up on death row. I couldn't save you from the crime you committed, but at least I saved everyone else from killing you because I'm in love with you. And it's just like so ridiculous, but so beautiful. All of the like sight gags, like we talked earlier about Trudy just being on the rotating bed when Jack opens that door toward the end. And it's so funny.
When she flips that guy?
Oh my God.
Holy shit.
I didn't even put that in the synopsis. At one point, Nick is trying to like hit her or something because he thinks that she killed. Is that when he thinks she killed the professor? I don't remember. Yeah, I think he thinks she killed the professor. And he tries to hit her, and she just grabs his hand and literally flips him over, knocks him on his ass, and then looks at everyone else as if to say, come at me, bro.
Yeah, it is like mic drop moment. I was like, oh my God, Trudy, where have you been all my life? Like, Jill Schmill, take me away. My loyalties are just all over the place. I'm like, Peggy died. Jill, Trudy.
Okay, last question. In standard Giallo fashion, this is very twisty and turny. Were you able to put any clues together to guess what was really going on and who killed whom?
No, I had no fucking idea.
Same. And this was a rewatch for me, and I didn't even remember, which, you know, as I've talked about, I love that. I love being able to forget what the clues are, what the solution to the mystery is, so that I can just watch it again on its own terms and enjoy myself. And yeah, I think if I watched it again, like later or tomorrow or something, I would be like, okay, yeah, I can see they're dropping us hints. You can kind of figure this out. Maybe, maybe not. But I don't know. I think part of the fun of a murder mystery, which is most Gialli, is not knowing who the killer is. Because then when you find out, you're just, that like shock and surprise makes it so enjoyable. And I think balancing that with the funny, as we talked about, it just works great. It really does. Well, it looks like it's time to play a game.
Hello. You don't know me, but I know you. I want to play a game.
What's our game this week, Caitlin?
Okay, so this is actually going to be very fun and is a game. It doesn't include any complicated lists or trivia.
You mean like last week?
Oh my God. I was like, I'm not explaining this well, and this is my own fault. So we are going to play a game. Let's go call it something stupid like Giallo Grab Bag, or maybe that was it. Giallo Grab Bag, and it definitely has no similarities to a different game that is copyrighted. So I'm going to ask you for some nouns, places, and verbs here.
Excellent.
All right. So, number 1, give me a plural noun.
Boobs.
Of boobs. Wonderful. A place.
Would it be better if it was more specific or more general?
It probably specific, but just because it's always more fun specific.
Saw City.
Occupation. Just say first occupation.
Exotic dancer.
Another noun.
Plant.
Secondary occupation.
Psychiatrist.
I'm having a great time with this. One last noun.
Theater. Does that work?
It does. And sorry, I sat on my keyboard at one. Actually, probably the cat sat on the keyboard at one point because I looked at my last one and it just said, and I went, that's not what I wrote. I looked this up because I was like, isn't this just a present tense verb? And apparently it's a present continuous verb or a verb ending in ing.
Ah, yes. Pumping.
Excellent. So, May, you have just recreated the plot synopsis for 5 Dolls for an August Moon. Let's read it, shall we?
Yes, please.
A group of boobs have gathered on a remote city for fun and relaxation. It's a terrible place. One of the guests is an exotic dancer who has created a revolutionary new plant, and several of the attending psychiatrists are eager to buy it from them. Theater problems, though, become moot when someone begins pumping the attendees one by one.
Oh my god. That's the best redacted copyrighted game name I've ever played. Oh my god, I love that. If you ever can't come up with a game, please do this again.
Oh, absolutely. I will give it up to Brian because he gave me the base idea he was just like, you should play like Mad Libs with the title of Giallo, because there's always, I was like, what, like an animal and a color and something else and and then I was like, or we could do like a synopsis, and I'm very excited about this. So
yes, perfect.
Yep. So wonderful, very, very fun. Thank you, May. And now, a part of this section, pleaser or punisher, May.
Oh, right, the thing that our podcast is named that we keep forgetting to do. Good thing we don't answer to anybody.
Aha!
I think this is a pleaser through and through. I think even if you are not a Giallo fan, it's got these beautiful late 60s colors. It's shot so wonderfully. The characters are fun and funny, even the ones who are total assholes. And I think that's a big part of its charm. And like I said before, the mystery is there. It keeps you guessing. It keeps you intrigued. And the ending is just, it's one of those chef's kiss endings. And thank goodness Bava added that, because if it just ended with Isabel getting the film after Jack and Trudy kill each other, it'd be like, okay, I mean, sure, I guess that is an ending, but it wouldn't be satisfying.
I agree. I think this was a lot of fun, even if it has some elements of Giallos where you're like, huh? But in this one, I didn't have any issues with that at all. I was here for beautiful dresses, beautiful gowns, beautiful people. Yeah, I found this to be a pleaser. It kept me guessing the whole time. I wasn't quite sure what was going on. It kept me intrigued and engaged. And again, it's like, what? Hey, okay, yeah.
Excellent. Well, I'm so glad you enjoyed it.
Yes. And do you have any final thoughts?
I think it's really impressive that Bava came on to this 2 days before production was starting and managed to make it this good. I don't know how he felt about it in the end, but I think he managed to pull out something really wonderful out of not an ideal situation.
Mario Bava, always known for pulling out.
And I'm also really glad it got Edwige started in Giallo, because Edwige and Giallo go together like peanut butter and chocolate.
Yeah. Her and like Barbara Boucher are two of the biggest Giallo stars. Obviously, Daria Nicolodi, we are not taking anything away for our, who also helped write and crafted and so on and so forth, of course. This is...
I really want to watch Paganini Horror because she stars in that, and I haven't seen it yet. I believe that's Fulci.
Well, interesting that you should bring that up, just because my final thoughts is we've just kind of switched up some of these things that I'm getting into it.
No worries.
I feel like I was already talking about it. Beautiful dresses, beautiful gowns, terrible people, a lot of fun queer content that I was not expecting. When I was like, whoa, okay, oh, Jill and Trudy. There's a whole other thing going on over here. And
yeah, I wish we had gotten a little more of that.
Yes.
Not because I'm a pervert, but also because I'm a pervert.
Also, that whole relationship and what they were up to, and Trudy being married to one of them. The professor.
Trudy was married to the professor.
Trudy married to the professor. Yeah. Jill being married to George, like slaps her at one point, because again, that's a great way.
Oh, he slaps her a lot.
That is just a great way to get someone to stop crying. As has been proven time and time again in these movies.
I mean, if we're quoting Mr. Green in Clue, I had to stop her screaming.
That's so funny because I went to the producers with like Leo Blue and be like, I'm cold, I'm wet, and I'm still panicking.
Story of my life.
I'm cold, I'm wet, and I'm still panicking.
Well, speaking of being cold, wet, and panicking, let's wrap up with what awaits you next time.
Don't you see? He's got us now. Okay, this is exactly what he wants. We can't go to the police, not now. He's made sure of that. He's just out there and he's watching us and waiting. What are you waiting for, huh? What are you waiting for?
Don't worry, listeners. I'm not going to kidnap you and waterboard you. But this does bring us to the end of our episode. Thanks so much for joining us on this journey, fellow travelers. If you like what you hear, please leave us a rating and review wherever you can, because it helps more people find the show, and it makes us all tingly inside. And I need some tingles. Y'all, my life fucking sucks right now. This week somehow has topped the last several weeks of horrible things happening. So, yeah, you know, say nice things to us, please. Yeah. And if you want to do that, you can find us on Instagram at Pleasers and Punishers, and on Blue Sky at Pleasers Punishers. You can email us at pleaserspunisherspodcast@gmail.com, and you can find me on Blue Sky and Letterboxd at Everson Poe, and my music is on Ample, Bandcamp, and streaming services as Everson Poe, 2 separate words. You can also hear me podcasting on Tender Subject and Slayerfest 98. What about you, Caitlin?
I can be found at Caitlin of the North on Blue Sky and Instagram, and Cat of the North on Letterboxd.
And next week's episode will be on Lucio Fulci's Don't Torture a Duckling, which I also got to see in the theater a couple months ago. And this will be my third watch, I believe. And we're going to have a very special guest. I'm very excited. Have you seen this one?
I have. I think this will also be my third time, but I have not seen it in the theater, so.
Well, if they ever show it in the theater near you, highly recommend. It is quite an experience. Content warning for our listeners. There's some pretty heavy violence in this. So just keep that in mind. And until then, do some aftercare, clean your toys, set healthy boundaries, and...
Houseboys come and go, but there's always a bottle.